قُلْ أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْكَافِرِينَ رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي وَاحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِّسَانِي يَفْقَهُوا قَوْلِي فالحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه ثم أما بعد. There is something about ita'ah, the word ita'ah, that I didn't mention, that it's important because it addresses some issues that might pop in the mind of a listener. The word ita'ah, the root letters are ta, waw, and ayn, tawwa. And tawwa literally means to volunteer. It literally means to volunteer. So for example, in Surah Al-Baqarah, when you wanted to volunteer and fast more, Allah said, وَمَن تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا وَمَن تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَاكِرٌ حَلِيمٌ. So, شَاكِرٌ عَلِيمٌ. So, what that implies is willing obedience. Ita'ah therefore implies willing obedience, because the root letters in and of themselves have something you do voluntarily, willingly. Okay? Now, the ayah says, obey Allah and the Messenger, and if you turn away, or if they turn away, if they've turned away, it could be interpreted both ways, then certainly Allah does not love, in fact, He's the one who does not love those who disbelieve, or disbelievers. Implying that, one should think, well, when somebody's not praying, or somebody's, not paying their zakat or something, they're a disbeliever. Well, it's not that simple. See, our fuqaha debated this issue at length. To start off with, we personally are in no position to judge the Islam of anybody else. On the outset, we're not in the position to judge the Islam of anybody else. However, when there's a declaration made that one is going to openly deny what the messenger was given as obligatory and say, well, it's not obligatory. It's one thing to say, I have a different interpretation of it, which is the new way of saying it's not obligatory, right? I have a different interpretation. But if somebody outright says, I know it says you have to pray, but I don't have to. I'm not gonna anyway. I'm still Muslim though. You're no longer willing to obey even. That's a negation of ita'ah. There's one thing to miss a prayer. There's one thing to say, I don't have to pray. There's two different things. When someone comes out right and says, I know Allah told me to do this, I am just not gonna do it. That's outright, you basically said that you have a right to determine what you should and shouldn't do, and your personal whim is a higher authority than what was revealed. That's an act of kufr. That's a statement of kufr. However, somebody says, I have to pray, I know, but I'm just lazy and I can't get myself to get up, or they know they have to do it. They're not saying they don't have to do it. They're saying they do have to do it because Allah told them, but they're falling short. Fuqaha will call these people fasiq, corrupt, weak in their faith, fajir, sinful, etc. Kufr is a heavy term. So it's used when you no longer have the willingness. Really, this from the starting point. You no longer have the willingness to obey what's been revealed. Which is different from, I don't know what I should be following. Or I do know, but I haven't found the strength yet. Or I'm trying to do my best and I'm not there yet. Those are all lame excuses, I know. But regardless, at least the person's not saying, I'm not willing to obey. They're not coming out right and saying that, or thinking that. Now, this may be something that is said or thought. Whether, and your thoughts, إِن تُخْفُوا مَا فِي صُدُورِكُمْ وَتُبْدُوهُ يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ. Allah will expose them, Allah will get to know them, Allah will know them already. They'll come out on Judgment Day, what was inside. It may be that one can keep that hidden inside of themselves, and it never comes out, but it will manifest itself on Judgment Day. May Allah not make us from the hypocrites. إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَى آدَمَ وَنُوحًا وَآلَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَآلَ عِمْرَانَ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ ذُرِّيَّةً بَعْضُهَا مِنْ بَعْضٍ. They are offspring, one from another. And this was mentioned particularly because they're Christians visiting. When Christians are visiting and they have a problem with the concept of offspring because they took one of them to be the offspring of Allah Azza wa Jal. So Allah says, no, from Adam all the way down to the legacy of Aal-e-Imran, the family of Imran, these are offsprings, one of each other, which includes, our implied therein already includes Isa alayhi salam. Wallahu sami'un alim. And Allah is all hearing, all knowing. How is Allah all hearing, all knowing? A sampling of that will be given in the next ayah. إِذْ قَالَتْ إِمْرَأَةُ عِمْرَانَ. When the woman of Imran said. Now, imra'a means in Arabic, woman. And when it comes as an idafa, the woman of, it comes as a word before the of, the woman of Imran said, one way of interpreting that is the wife of Imran. And that's a common interpretation of this ayah, the wife of Imran. But also, Imran, as I mentioned, according to some historians, is the father of which messenger? Musa alayhi salam, right? A woman from that lineage of Imran can also be called a woman of Imran, meaning a woman of the lineage of Imran. It's just the abbreviated version of that. So one of the descendants of the family of Musa alayhi salam, one of the Israelites from the tree of Imran said this. Okay, she made this quote. And so Allah mentions it like that. Now it could be that her name was Imran, the mother of Musa's name, or father of Musa's name was Imran, and way down the line there was another guy, his name was Imran, and his wife is talking. There was a man, his name is Imran, and Allah is talking about his wife. Allahu A'lam, I personally prefer the historical lineage interpretation. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. So, إِذْ قَالَتْ إِمْرَأَةُ عِمْرَانَ, and by the way, this kind of affiliation, even though she's not directly his daughter or related immediately to him, it's generations down, but to put it connected like that, that's actually a common thing in Hebrew tradition. So later on we're going to find when people start talking to Maryam, Salamu alayha, they say, Ya Ukhta Harun, sister of Harun. She's not Harun's sister, but she is from that family, so she's just called sister of Harun. You see what I'm saying? That affiliation. How can you forget that you're from that family? You know, nowadays we just say, you know, Harun's relative, right? But they used ukht directly. Anyhow, إِذْ قَالَتْ إِمْرَأَةُ عِمْرَانَ, when the wife of Imran said, so she said this openly, publicly, privately, where do you think? She's about to make a dua. She's expecting, she's in the privacy of her home, and she's making a dua to Allah. Allah said in the previous ayah, Allah hears everything. And by the way, is she a prophet herself? No, she's not a prophet herself. So Allah hears everything from everyone. She makes this dua, and she says, Rabbi inni nadhartu laka ma fi batni muharraran. My master, it is no doubt I that have devoted, nadhara yanzuru, to devote, okay? To put something as a dedication. The Urdu speakers here know mannat mangna. They know that phrase. Okay, to just decide that this is dedicated to Allah. I'm putting this money aside, this house aside, this land aside. Somebody can do nadhr of a land, not nadhr with a dha, like put an evil eye on the land, but nadhr of a land with a dhal. But nadhr, I'm going to build a masjid here. This land is dedicated for Allah. This is nadhr. Okay, like the masjid that I used to be Sunday school teacher at back in Bayshore in Long Island. There was a brother who devoted, he owned a house there, and he just put in his will that I'm dedicating this land to a masjid. So then eventually it became a masjid, now it's a whole school and everything, right? But he left that as a nadhr. Now she is devoting her child, her child to the service of deen. She lives obviously in Jerusalem or near, you know, the masjid and al-Masjid al-Aqsa. And she knew that one of the greatest honors someone can have is to be a servant of Allah's house. And the ulama and the zuhad, they used to live in the masjid. They were dedicated to serving the masjid, the synagogue at the time, the masjid, and taking care of it and making sure it's clean for the people and then teaching them and learning themselves, etc. So she wanted to have a child so she could dedicate it to that, basically be the imam of the masjid. You can think of it like that, okay? So whatever is ma fi batni, whatever is in my belly, muharraran, that is freed. Harrara yuharriru tahriran fahuwa muharrir, the freer. Muharrar, the one who is freed. This is a maf'ul, right? The one who's freed. In other words, he's freed from all worldly obligations. And she used the masculine, right? Implying obviously it's a boy. He's not going to have to work. He's not going to have to farm or fish or anything else. He's going to be free. I mentioned fish on purpose. It'll come later. فَتَقَبَّلْ مِنِّي, then accept from me. Then accept from me. Now interestingly, she doesn't say فَتَقَبَّلْهُ مِنِّي, accept him from me. Because first and foremost, she's interested of the reward for herself. This intention, Ya Allah, accept. I don't even know if I'm going to have a healthy baby or not. The baby's not in my possession yet. I don't know. But this intention, that sincere dedication that I've made, that should be enough for Allah to reward me and accept from me. فَتَقَبَّلْ مِنِّي إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Certainly you are all hearing, all knowing. Wasn't the previous ayah السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ وَاللَّهُ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ? Allah is all hearing, all knowing. Allah is saying, hey, I've told you that in theory, and now look at it as a case study. Remember, she said it and I heard her. And I heard her so well, I'm recording it to you, for you. Thousands of years later, centuries later, I'm telling you, actually centuries later, as a matter of fact. I'm telling it to you. فَلَمَّا وَضَعَتْهَا, then when she delivered him, there are two verbs in Arabic for delivering, hamala and wada'a. Wada'a means to drop something literally, put something down. And it's used when the mother is relieved of her burden. She's put that burden down finally. She's relieved. قالت, she said, Rabbi, inni wada'tuha untha, Master, I have given birth to her. Ha, untha, a girl. She said it twice. If she says, Rabbi, inni wada'tu untha, Master, no doubt I in fact give birth to a girl. She didn't say that. I give birth to her, a girl. Untha. And Allah interjects in that ayah and says, Wallahu a'lamu bima wada'at. And Allah knew better. Allah knows better what she gave birth to. She knew it was a girl when she was in her belly. Allah Azza wa Jalla knew before it was in her belly. Allah knew before she even made her dua. So He knows better. وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. Now this could go, maybe Allah said this. And if Allah said this, it implies no boy will be like this girl. It says, no boy could have been like this girl. لَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. If she said it, she's saying, I give birth to her, a girl, and a boy is not like a girl. In other words, a boy can't be the imam of a masjid, or a caretaker, or a custodian, or a cleaner. They're supposed to have, hijab and separation and the limitations of what a girl can do in the masjid. So how am I going to fulfill my oath, my devotion? وَإِنِّي سَمَّيْتُهَا Maryam. Regardless, she's over it. She's shocked, but she knows it's the qadr of Allah. So she says, no doubt I'm definitely naming her Maryam. إِنِّي سَمَّيْتُهَا Maryam. I have named her Maryam. You know what? One of the side lessons from this, by the way, you can name your child. It's okay. You don't have to go around and get like a super crazy religious name. Don't get weird names either. I don't know, this is a new thing in Pakistan to get weird names for your kids. Like they have to find some Farsi obscure word that nobody's ever used before. We should name our children good names. But at the same time, they don't necessarily have to be Arabic or like, one of the names of the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or Abdullah, Abdul Rahman. These are beautiful names, and they're masnoon names, and they're preferred names also. But they can be titles as well. It's okay for you to name your children. It's not a harmful thing. I've talked to fuqaha about this issue because a lot of times people become Muslim later on in life, and then people say, so what's your Muslim name? Actually, yeah, my kafir name is Joseph, and my Muslim name is Yusuf. No, his name's Joseph is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. What was Umar radiallahu anhu's name before he became Muslim? What was his mushrik name? Umar. What's his Muslim name? Umar. Suhaib al-Rumi. He's a Roman. His name was Suhaib. Before he became Muslim, he was, oh, what a shock, Suhaib. Right? It's okay. And this is actually part of the universal nature of the deen. By the way, some of you are from Indo-Pak subcontinent or places like that, and your name is like Parvez Chaudhry. Nobody comes and says to you, so what's your other than Zoroastrian name? Because Parvez is a Farsi name, the Persians were Zoroastrians. What's your Muslim name? Nobody says that to you, right? Now if your name directly has shirk in it, or your name is something like Aag Parast, fire worshipper or something, that's right? Then change your name. Right? If your name is something like Christian or, then change your name. Or if you're Arab, but you're Arab Christian or something, a lot of Christians named Abdul Masih. They're literally named Abdul Masih. Change your name, fine. It's got negative implications, it's blasphemous, etc. Change it. But if it doesn't, leave it alone. It's okay. We don't have to Arabize names for them to be legitimate. We don't. And that's actually historically not even true. I don't know why we have that obsession when we come to the West. Like the West is particularly un-Islamic for us. So we have to make sure we pick an Arab name to get away from the un-Islamicness of it. It's not like that. It really isn't. So, Inni Samaytuha Maryam, I've named her Mary. Maryam, no problem. Wa inni u'idhuha, and certainly I am putting her in refuge. A'adha ya'udhu. A'adha ya'udhu to take refuge. From ya'udhu, huwa ya'udhu, we get ana a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge. That's the mujarrad from the three-letter form. Then you say a'adha yu'idhu i'adatan. Like aqama yuqimu iqamatan, like that. To put somebody else in refuge. to put somebody else in protection. He says, Inni u'idhuha bika. I am putting her in your protection. وَذُرِّيَّتَهَا. And I'm putting her children in your protection too. First of all, she thought of the future. She thought of a child that hadn't even been born yet. Now that it is born, she's thinking of the future again. She's thinking of her and her future children. And she doesn't even say وَأَبْنَاءَهَا وَأَوْلَادَهَا. She says ذُرِّيَّتَهَا, her future generations. I'm putting her and her future generations in your protection from ash-shaytan al-rajim. Rajam in Arabic means to pelt or to stone. Okay, so إِنَّهُمْ إِنْ يَظْهَرُوا عَلَيْكُمْ يَرْجُمُوكُمْ أَوْ يُعِيدُكُمْ فِي مِلَّتِهِمْ. Surah Al-Kahf. If they find you, the people of the cave, if they find you, then they're going to what? يَرْجُمُوكُمْ. They'll stone you to death. From it we get rajim. Rajim, this word rajim is actually like, sometimes the ism sifa, the rajim, the ya in it, is actually, it communicates the meaning of marjum. It communicates the meaning of an ism maf'ul, the objective noun. What that means in simple English is the one who is pelted constantly. And pelting was a means of cursing someone. Pelting somebody was a means of, they did this to cursed people or people that were damned or condemned. So shaitan al-rajim, the condemned shaitan, the pelted shaitan. Of course, we fulfill and make him truly rajim all the time when we say a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, because he's pelted in the unseen. He's literally shot every time we say it. And of course, then at the occasion of Hajj and Umrah, we also engage in the rajam, right? So فَإِنِّي أُعِيدُهَا بِكَ وَذُرِّيَّتَهَا مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. By the way, shaitan, I don't know if I got to discuss it before, there's two origins argued of it. There's shatana and shata. Shatana and shata. And both have similar meanings, but essentially someone who's overwhelmed with rage, overwhelmed with frustration and rage. This is that's shaitan. فَتَقَبَّلَهَا رَبُّهَا. Then her master accepted her. Her master accepted her. Now the question is, who does the her go back to? Is it the mother or the daughter? Right? And this is part of the eloquence of it, that in some sense it applies to both, the mother and the daughter. Okay? بِقَبُولٍ حَسَنٍ. With the best possible kind of acceptance. In other words, not only did he accept her prayer, he accepted her in the most beautiful way. بِقَبُولٍ حَسَنٍ. He welcomed that supplication. وَأَنْبَتَهَا نَبَاتًا حَسَنًا. Ambata means to sprout something. Like when you water plants and you let water come onto them, you're doing imbat. He allowed her to sprout. This is ambata. So what Allah does in this ayah is similar as a verb at least to what farmers do with a plant. Okay? They do imbat also. They make things grow in the garden. Now tell me this. If you put the water in the ground, you have the right kind of soil, it's getting plenty of sun, it's getting plenty of water, you're making sure no weeds come in, the seed is there too, everything is right. You've done your part. Does that necessarily guarantee that the plant will be healthy? No. At the end of the day, you can do your part, but then there's the plant. Will it take that water? Will that plant be ripe? Will it benefit from the sunlight? It's like a student and a teacher relationship. The teacher can do, for example, I picked that one on purpose. So a teacher can do everything on purpose, maybe try to do his best he can, go out of his way. But there's a student who's just refused to learn. You can argue that the teacher did his part, but that doesn't guarantee that the student will do his part. You follow? The same thing happens in parent and child. Maybe a parent did his part. Yaqub alayhi salam did his part. We can't doubt that. Amazing parent, right? He did everything he could. So who do you get to blame when his kids mess up? Who didn't take in that tarbiyah, that training, that development, that advice, that counseling, that parenting? Who wasn't able to take advantage of that awesome opportunity? The children. They weren't able to take advantage, at least not early on in life. Later on it kicked in. Okay? Now, Allah says, ambataha. Which the ambata form, ambata yumbitu imbat, implies what Allah did. If it was only talking about what Allah did, we would have read, ambataha imbatan hasanan. Ambata yumbitu imbatan. The Sarf students know that, right? Ambata yumbitu imbatan. But we don't read that. We read ambataha nabata. Now, nabata is the plant itself. Nabat is the infinitive of the plant itself. So where the Arabic expectation was ambataha nabatan hasanan, Allah says ambataha imbatan hasanan, Allah says ambataha nabatan hasanan. Yani tawa'at. She conformed. Allah made sure He gives her the best possible opportunity to sprout, and she herself took in that and took full advantage of that and did everything she could to have the best possible advantage to that upbringing also. So Allah actually captures her effort and His favor both by saying ambataha nabatan. It's beautiful that Allah gives her credit to her character in this word too, nabatan. If He said ambataha imbatan, all the credit would go to Allah Azza wa Jal. But Allah Azza wa Jal compliments her character also in saying ambataha nabatan, and then gives her quality of an adjective also, nabatan hasanan. These are the kinds of things that are almost impossible to capture in translation. Even if I tried to sit and write about it, I probably wouldn't be able to. My head would start spinning. I'm not a good writer anyway, right? But this stuff, it's so important to not overlook some of these things because they're so beautiful. What Allah Azza wa Jal captures in few words. أنبتها نباتا حسنا وكفلها زكريا. Now, interestingly, later on in Quran, we're going to read two guys get into an argument over some sheep, two brothers. Maybe the word brother is used because they're really close to each other. Because the Arabs have things like رُبَّ أَخٍ لَمْ تَلِدْهُ وَالِدَةٌ. Maybe it's a brother that the mom didn't give birth. This is my good friend. You call him brother too. إِنَّ هَذَا أَخِي لَهُ تِسْعٌ وَتِسْعُونَ نَعْجَةً. This is my brother, he's got 99 sheep. I only got one. But he tells me, أكفلنيها. Make me in charge of it. أكفل, يكفل, إكفال. To make someone in charge. Here we find what verb? كفل. It's a different pattern. This is أكفل, and then there is كفل. What's the difference? أكفل, he's taking over a sheep. Does that require extensive care? No. But Zakaria is going to be given charge of what? A sheep? A child. And not just any child. This girl is not like no other boy. She's special. So Allah made sure, in this form, kaffala with the shadda, taf'eel form, takfeel form, it's Allah gave him full responsibility, an extensive responsibility. He gave her fully in charge of Zakaria, and also implies Zakaria alayhi salam went out of his way to take care of her all the time and continuously. Kaffalaha. Instead of just saying akfalaha Zakaria. Okay, وَكَفَّلَهَا Zakaria. So Zakaria alayhi salam took full care of her and went out of his way to make sure that he takes care of her. Here's another thing. There are some in the Orientalist tradition. They don't just attack Islam, by the way. They attack Christianity also. Okay, they don't spare any religion. Okay, and when they attack Christianity, they attack the relationship of Zakaria alayhi salam and Maryam salamun alayha. Okay, they attack his integrity. Now, the way Allah protects that accusation in the Quran is He says, not that Zakaria took responsibility of her, kaffala, the subject of the verb, can actually be going back to Allah. Allah put Zakaria in charge of her. Meaning Zakaria is not the fa'il, rather Allah is the fa'il. Huwa kaffala, Allah put in charge, like ambataha nabatan hasanan. وَكَفَّلَهَا Zakaria. Allah put Zakaria in charge of Maryam salamun alayha. What that implies is you can never question the character of Zakaria alayhi salam because Allah Himself took responsibility for that. Allah Himself took that. كَفَّلَهَا Zakaria. This is not just a Christian tradition, but actually, some of the people of the book also have horrible things to say about prophets alayhimu salatu wassalam. And Quran on many occasions, the way it talks about them, especially prophets of the people of the book, it protects their dignity against those accusations that have become commonplace among them. Like when a story gets passed down generation after generation, you've heard it in Sunday school or in some cases Saturday school after Saturday school for generations, right? Then eventually that's what happened. So they started casually believing certain things about prophets that are just completely out of line. So Quran comes to the defense of those kinds of things. For example, it was very common among many Christians that Isa alayhi salam was mean to his mother. Like in some passages of the Bible, he just calls her, getaway woman or something to that effect, right? He just talks like, and so what does Quran do? Quran makes sure it records the statement of Isa alayhi salam, وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَتِي, and I am good to my mother. Like it's a direct response to a possible accusation that's existed for centuries in that tradition. No, that wasn't true. He was always good to his mother. And he declares it himself. وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَتِي. That's how Allah has sent me. So here, وَكَفَّلَهَا Zakaria. So Zakaria alayhi salam, her uncle, is going, he's her khal. In Urdu say khalu. Arabic we say khal. Okay, khal. which means maternal uncle. Okay? Actually, Khalu is the wrong translation. Mamu is the right translation in Urdu. Mamu, sorry. Yeah. We got it all messed up in Urdu. So